All right, so going to be talking about some DC news that has come out of Comic Con since we are now in full comic. We are Thursdays are always kind of interesting because Thursday is just kind of like some news that kind of trickles out. It doesn't really start flowing until like Friday, and then Saturday is just the massive hit, and then it's just like, come Sunday, it's just little trickles here and there. So we'll see what comes out. I'm always interested to see what happens. Also, if I miss any news, it's because I'm in about an hour as of this recording. I'm going to be going to go see Fantastic Four. I will be doing a review of that on Patreon. So if you want to check out that, just hit the link in the description box below. Head on over to my Patreon. Hit the third tier. That'll allow you access to do so. But anyway, let's talk about some DC Comic-Con news, and it is mostly about the Absolute Universe, which has been tearing ass all across sales for DC, so it makes sense that they would throw out a lot of stuff. But there is some other DC comic news that I did want to talk about. Let's talk about the two things that really kind of stood out to me that were and this is like stuff I've seen so far. There could be more news that comes out later, but this is what, and I'll do videos on or try to do videos on those when the time comes. But for right now, it's just this. Like, it's just this. Anyway. So, first off, we got news that Flash will be taking over. Will be the comic, which I have not really liked. I've not really liked Cy Spurrier's. I haven't really cared much for Cy Spurrier's Flash run, and whoever else is on, it's just been kind of like for me, it hasn't really been interesting. But it looks like we're going to be getting a new era of Flash from two very important, very big writers that I really enjoy. Mark Waid is finally returning to the Flash, and it will be also alongside Christopher Cantwell, who has been doing a lot of cool stuff for Marvel, whether it be, a lot like Doctor Doom or his Iron Man run or things like that. Christopher Cantwell is always a writer I really enjoy. He's always done a lot of like villain-centric miniseries so far, but he has written a few like major. He also wrote for Star Trek at IDW, so dude knows his sci-fi shit. And the storyline will be called Impulse Control. So we are getting the return of Bart Allen, aka Impulse. So that's going to be really fun to see. I'm curious to see where that storyline goes. Next up, we have Batman Night Fight, which there was no image other than Dan Mora's awesome artwork that involved just... what was I going to say? Just Batman and fire holding looks like a Klingon batleth in his hands, and there's other Batman behind him, and it's a fire. There's nothing really. There was no information there. It was just a cool image, so I can't really say much until I get more information. Now we come to the stuff you came for, the Absolute DC Universe news. So first off, we are getting our first Absolute team up, and it's Batman and Wonder Woman. So Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman will finally meet. You'd think it would have been Absolute Superman Batman, like Absolute World's Finest, but this is fine too. I like when Bruce and Diana work together. So, and these are two vastly different personalities. So I'm curious to see how the Absolute Wonder, like this will be our first foray in the Absolute characters meeting. So I am fascinated by that. What else was I gonna say? Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So yeah, Absolute, our first Absolute team up. Am I surprised it's Batman Wonder Woman and not Superman Batman? Yeah, but we'll see how that goes. Then we have Absolute Evil, which is going to be our next major event within the Absolute universe, and it may actually tie into the DC universe. But out of that comes Absolute Green Arrow, who will first appear in the Absolute event, but it's then he's going to get his own comic. So the next character getting the Absolute DC character is Absolute Green Arrow. I've not heard of the writer's name. I can't even pronounce it, but Raphael Albuquerque is going to be doing the artwork, so that's a solid. That's a plus. So yeah, I was kind of wondering when we were going to be getting our next title from the Absolute universe. So Green Arrow makes a lot of sense. I'm very curious to see like who will be next. Like who will be our next Absolute character. I'm kind of hoping the next character may be Absolute Shazam or trying to like absolute question would be kind of awesome. Like I'm not gonna lie, I'd love to see like the question and an absolute version of the question. But those are my two, Shazam or the question, that I'd like to see get the absolute treatment. But yeah, so DC is going full steam ahead with the Absolute universe. It's very clear that they're putting a lot of faith into it, and the Absolute Evil event looks pretty interesting. And again, I'm always down for like Green Arrow. They didn't really give a lot of information from the article I read of what this Absolute Green Arrow is going to be like, but I imagine it's going to be like, what if he just never learned his lesson? Like, what if Oliver never learned his lesson from the island and became more of an asshole? That's what I feel like we're going with here. I could be wrong, but I feel like that's the feel of it all. So yeah, just a handful of DC news. But yeah, you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of this DC news? Like I said, I will be stepping out to watch Fantastic Four. So again, if you want to check out my thoughts on Fantastic Four first steps, just hit the link in the description box below. Head on over to my Patreon, hit the first tier. That'll allow you access to do so, as well as check out like posts and polls and other things. And like I said, I will be coming back to do review like other stuff that I missed for the news so far. But other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.